After the enormous success of Return to Zork, Activision is putting a lot of its support and money behind more graphic adaptations of the old Infocom text games. As you saw last episode, game designer Steve Moretsky is currently hard at work on the latest chapter of his Planetfall saga. In fact, the renewed interest in those classic games is partly responsible for the creation of Moretsky's new company, Bafo Games.
At that point, it was just me working alone at home. And when Peter Doctorow called from Activision and said, "Do you want to work on Planetfall?" I said, "Oh God, I'd love to, but I just don't think I have the cycles." And I thought about it a little bit, and I called him back and I said, I think I could probably do it if I hired a programmer to help me work on Superhero League of Hoboken, which was one of the other two projects I was working on at that point. And so I found Leo to do that, and so Leo started working for me, and basically, I guess, for one thing, it made me realize how much I was missing by working alone, and also it sort of provided another brain there to, kind of banter about the idea of starting a company. And so that would have been like last September, and by like the following January we had founded Bafo. Need a better technology for storing more than 8,000 pages in one book.
On our visit to Bafo's Concord, Massachusetts office, Moretsky showed us lots of design sketches by art director Jefferson Elliott.
I pretty much say, okay, this room has got to have like such and such a machine in it, and it's got to look like this, and it's got to have like this character in it, and it's got to have like a table with 3 chairs around it or whatever. And then they'll sort of, come back with a sketch of the room or something. And in general, I think about a room and it's like a rectangle, and everything in it is kind of like really utilitarian. And the stuff that they're coming back with is really much more wonderful. Now, there are 3 planets in this system. There's Spat 3, short for Spatula 3, where the robot slaves are being in awful conditions in the mines. And there's Spatula 2, which is basically an agricultural world which organically grows robot parts. And then finally there's Spat 4b, which is a city, an industrial city, which is so poisoned that all the cities are floating using anti-gravity. They're floating in the atmosphere because the surface of the planet is basically just, like a sea of sludge from centuries of pollution.
And here are some more of those dramatic sketches. The emphasis on quality visuals in this game cannot be overstated.
These are very much derived from the architectural style of this science fiction illustrator named Levius Wood.
While the backgrounds are dramatic enough, the Activision design team is also working very hard on character design and facial expression. There'll be more to this robot's face in the final version, but from the look of this test run, these eyes could almost stand alone. Transforming the popular game system to a visual form combined the problems of adapting a book to a film with all the questions inherent in a sequel.
The main question at the beginning was, do we want this sort of to be an immediate sequel to the second Planetfall game, Stationfall? You play the same character that you played in Planetfall and Stationfall, and in the same way that Stationfall just follows a few years on the heels of Planetfall with this new game start shortly after Stationfall. Or, do we just sort of want to set it in the same universe, but you don't really play the same character, in the same way that Return to Zork is set many hundreds of years after the other Zork games, and there are some similarities, but it's not a direct sequel.
Moretsky also gave us a rundown on the actual storyline of the new Planetfall game.
What we eventually settled on was that the game would take place significantly further in the future than Stationfall. You wouldn't play the same character. However, it would be set on the same ship, the same spaceship that Stationfall was set on. The mission of the Stellar Patrol is coming to an end, and your ship, the Duffy, the SPS Duffy, is going to be converted, because there's no longer a mission for it, it's going to be converted into a cruise ship. So that's one subplot. And then another subplot is in this sort of last remaining system that's about to be brought in. There's basically a culture of keeping robots as slaves in like really, really awful conditions in these mines. And basically Floyd discovers this on your visit to the planet, and to make a long story short, leads the robots in revolt a la Spartacus. The subplots sound very diverse, but in fact they are interwoven at the very end of the story. Oh, I shouldn't give it away.